I wouldn't have thought of, because he was like, you know, we definitely want to do Q&As, but we're also doing a table reading at the Crescent Ballroom for people who have never been to a table reading.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And we're doing a networking event so that even if you're not a part of the festival, you can come get connected and still be part of the festival.
Filmmakers who didn't submit something.
Yeah. Come meet other people doing what you do, and connect to other people. And the next thing you know, what you make may be seen around the world by your own hand. You know what I mean? By sending someone something, and who knows what the possibilities can unlock there. So yeah, we'll be screening images and videos on the sides of buildings.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a lot of different interesting stuff to bring some art and some life to the city with a very particular eye on quality.
Very cool. Now, I guess what was I gonna? There were a couple of questions I had regarding kind of what's showing there. Now, do you have does it sort of space throughout the day so that people can kind of gear up for, you know, the feature length films at the end of the night, or what?
Yeah.
How is the programming sort of you know, at least just so I guess the question on that is, you mentioned some kind of cool things that'll be going on. I would imagine that there is some of this going on during some of the actual screenings. So if you're not interested in a particular film, you can go do something else. But I guess I am kind of curious about the sort of orchestration of that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make some decisions. You know, like you check out the programming, you find what interests you.
Sure.
Some things will overlap. Of course, it's hard to not avoid that when you're doing a festival and you're presenting that much stuff over 2 days in different places, because you always want something to be going on.
Well, and not everything's going to fit everybody's interests, so you kind of have to do some things to keep people in the area.
And so keeping that in mind, we hope that, you know, you'll find something that meets your taste, and then you find something else that may interest you somewhere else later on or the next day. Friday night, we're going to have a opening party and a concert to celebrate the event at the end of the night at the Crescent Ballroom. And, you know, some people may just be interested in doing one thing, and we would love for you to come do that thing and be a part of it, and possibly be inspired to do more. Like we've broken things up into short films and feature films. You know, people are interested in very specific things sometimes, so we try to group those things together in interesting ways. Have a variety of things going, and you know, you just figure out what'll meet your taste.
Were you involved in the screening process at all, as far as films were coming in?
A little bit. I wasn't part of the selection committee, but I helped make content that we're using to promote. I got to see some of the work. I still haven't seen everything, which is cool to me, because, you know,
because you can enjoy it as a spectator.
I'll be able to enjoy some of
this
from a fresh perspective. So it's not just all us making the decisions. We brought in some trusted, you know, artists and decision makers to help us have a variety and
are you able
ideas.
to kind of speak to who was on the selection committee?
No, that's a secret.
That's a secret. Okay. You know, I would imagine you don't want anybody,
nobody's
tracking
cars
down
or houses
anyone.
getting egged because
because their film didn't make it in. Okay, fair enough. I was trying to get a scoop on something, but no, not really. Is there anything that you saw that you're particularly excited for other people to see? Yeah,
I mean, we have 30 amazing films. Some of this stuff is going to blow people's minds. We've picked the best stuff that we have had access to, and me personally, I'm looking forward to people seeing Starvation. That's an animated short.
Okay.
I'm a short film guy. Like, you know, I got kids, so I don't have too much time. Like, for myself, I can't just veg out all
so anything
day.
adult.
Yeah,
right.
so if I can get it in 20 or 30 minutes, I'm good. So there's an animated short called Starvation that I think people are gonna like. There's, I got an opportunity to be exposed to things I wouldn't normally have seen. Different lifestyles, different cultures. There's a film called Are You Volleyball? And it's about immigration and things and the conflict involved in that. We put a lot of focus on immigrants this year and minorities and women this year because.
Wait, I'm sorry. Why? I don't mean to make light of that. That's incredibly important.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Because we personally feel it's important, and because these are very relevant issues.
This is a state that's at the center of it, really, being a border state.
Literally,
so,
literally at the center of it, and we want to have some control over the dialogue. I think the people should be able to have some control over the dialogue and not just have everything dictated to them. So, and then have it done honestly so that they can make honest decisions that aren't swayed by misinformation, that aren't swayed by propaganda, or at least direct propaganda from, a source that has huge overarching plans for you. You know what I mean? Something from the heart. And we're focusing on immigration because it's what's happening right now, here. Because we feel like all of us are immigrants in some way, shape, or form, excluding Native Americans.
Sure, right.
And we want to celebrate those differences because if we look at it from what I would say is the right perspective, we can all learn how we have things in common and celebrate our differences and respect those things and learn and not shut ourselves off because of ignorance. If we understand what it means to be in another person's shoes and we see what other people go through, we can have empathy, we can learn, and we can become closer as a species of humans. Like, instead of finding reasons to turn our backs and move away from the things that could unite us all.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to be a sort of theme and message that carries through from Maddie's work though already, right? This kind of emphasis on highlighting people's experience in order to in turn ourselves grow and learn from it and be better people to each other.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up reading comic books, man. I'm a firm good versus evil guy. Like, looks have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Those are the principles I keep first. Like, are you a good person or a bad person? Do you help people or do you hurt people?
Yeah.
And I feel like if the answers to those questions, aren't at the priority of your decision making when you're making judgments about people, then what is and why? Because I think those may be the most important things, not what they look like, not where they came from, not what they do for a living, not what they don't have. And, I think that needs to be looked at closer. So by highlighting people of color and people who don't normally get to have their voices heard, allowing those people, specifically women, to tell their own stories, and not try to dictate their existence to them. I think that's when we can. Understanding is what elevates people, not money and not status, but understanding, because that allows us to work together better and better civilization. And not by having a disaster take place that forces us to do it.
Right, which seems more and more likely every day. But I'm curious, on a less serious note, completely unrelated to the film festival, as going back to your Cash 2099 days.
Sure.
What was your opinion of Into the Spider-Verse?
Oh man, so I haven't seen it yet.
No,
and
okay.
It's because everyone in my family wants to see it at the same time.
Okay. Okay.
And it's like we just haven't been able to do it yet. But I can't wait to see this movie.
I'm not gonna give my opinion at all, other than I loved it. And so when we talk next time, I want to talk about it. So
I'll come back with notes.
All right. Okay. Cause I won't say anything about it.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, so, one of the things that is really cool about the Indie Film Fest website is it like right up front, as it's talking about the pricing, talks about proceeds going directly back to the filmmakers too.
Exactly.
So obviously there are costs involved. You've got I'm sure with the mission of the film festival, I'm sure business partners are happy to participate and all that, but there are costs.
Yes.
I'm sure you've got to deal with the city and all that sort of thing. But I mean, it's really cool that so much of the point of this is to not only, because people, it's a crazy concept, but people need to get paid for art.
Yes.
Because otherwise, how do you have the time to create?
Exactly. And I think what's key is that this is possible because Maddie and Peter have have had long time relationships with the venues and the partners that are helping us bring this to life. If they've always tried to bring value back to the city and bring life into the city and create things that show the beauty of the people and what the city has to offer. And that's what's allowed us to be able to have the venues to be able to do this. They want to make a difference, and then they put their money where their mouth is by creating value for themselves and the partners. Like for some reason, everybody doesn't think win-win when they make decisions and decide how things are going to go and decide who gets what.
Sure.
And whenever people do think win-win, it usually works out for the better. So we've done events at the Crescent before and at the Film Bar before. We had the premiere for You Racist Sexist Bigot at the Film Bar, and we sold out. And so they saw that we worked hard to do that, and we worked hard to make it worth their while. And so they, again, were willing to open the doors for us to do this. And that's the overall goal of this festival. Number one, to create value, to create our own artistic currency is how I think of it, and not have it be defined by parties that don't have the artists and the people that make the community's best interests at heart.
Now, I can imagine this was not, kind of knowing the events and the politics of places like Film Bar and Crescent, and that area. Thankfully, there being some spots for some more liberally minded people to go. That the buy-in for that was probably not too hard to sell. But I'm curious, like what kind of other community involvement have you seen? Has there been kind of buy-in from the city and the Arts and Culture office and that sort of thing? Do you know? I mean, what has the take on that been, and has this been well received by those entities as well?
Well, so far I feel like, number one, feedback and interest have been really good, and that number two, you never want to forget that it's a growing process. Like, this is our first year. No one's ever done this before.
Sure.
In the way that we're trying to do it, and with our goals, which is to create an institution that is formed by the people and doesn't serve a master that's not directly tied into this, ecosystem artistically or community. Like, we want this to grow consistently, and we don't expect it to take off and become Sundance, in a year. we expect to keep coming back every year until people see that we mean it. We're here to stay, and we're going to keep working our behinds off to bring value to this city and show that it matters. We people don't generally care